All of the footage in this video is for the purpose of comment and protected by the Fair Use Doctrine. Please enjoy. A Silent Voice is one of the best films, no, one of the best works of art I've ever seen in my entire life. Every second of the movie is filled with intricate details and meaningful symbolism. It has truly affected me like no other movie quite has. And so I'd like to share with you my personal experiences and impressions with this movie. This isn't really a standard review so much as it is just me fanboying over this. Got it? Okay, let's go. Shoya has convinced himself to do something against the will he has to survive. He is in an almost emotionless state, yet all it took were some fireworks to snap him out of it. Something so simple, so beautiful, so sudden, even alarming. This day was meant to be his last. Instead, now he has to continue living on like nothing happened. And this is when we see every ounce of guilt in him replay in his mind, opening the way for the rest of the movie. Quite the jarring transition. Although this makes a lot of sense if you think about it, because really, in his head, he is coming from a mindset where he is just ready to die, and then shifts back to a mindset where he didn't have a care in the world, as is shown through the music. This part is the first of many times where sensory details are used to further the story. Shoko is in a world where she cannot understand everyone else like everyone else can. She has been locked away by a gate, condemned by the rest of society. All in her mind. Yet through touch, she can kind of connect with the world outside of her. It's one step closer to understanding. Remember when I said she was condemned by the rest of society? But it isn't just a metaphor. Basically everyone in the school just despises her. Except for Sahara. What did those who despised her do when Sahara left? Blamed it all on her. Yet, she wanted to be able to forgive them, to be the better person. All she wants is someone to call a friend. And yet it seems like everyone around her hates her. Why do they hate her? For something she cannot control. That kind of thing is all over life. Even today, people are naturally afraid of things they aren't used to, even if it harms others. They will do anything to keep up any form of routine they have, any familiarity. And so a new person with new problems is completely and utterly alien to them. They take out their discomfort on those people, unable to realize their discrimination. Notice that the music here is very playful, mainly because this is just any other day for Shoya. However, he very quickly sees the repercussions to his actions. And notice the contrast to this scene, where the music seems very mute and a little somber, because he's experiencing all the things he did to Shoko himself. And of course, this is mainly because all the others were natural to blame him. This is no doubt due to him taking basically all the blame for the bullying. And yet, even when pressed like this, he's been put in a situation where even the others, who did almost just as much to bully Shoko, can put him in a position of villainy. They take their chance to have everyone's blame redirected onto him. Getting a little personal here, but I had a moment that was much like this in, like, 2nd grade, where I saw the blame for a problem be shifted around like tennis. Fast forwarding a bit, we have this wonderful scene, where Shoya attempts to make amends with Nishimiya after their faulty past, to say the least. You can even see here the child Nishimiya transitioning into the high school Nishimiya, the modern Nishimiya. In this scene, you can see millions of emotions in Shoko's face. Not only is Shoko shocked to see him, even a little scared, but she wants him to change. But she's experienced many betrayals in her life already. She isn't sure how to understand all of these emotions flooding in. So naturally, she runs. Shoya, in a way, chases after his mistakes in his past, to try and solve them. Nishimiya doesn't notice Shoya at first, but she does once he grips the same metal bar that she's gripping onto. Sensory details like this help to create a sense of empathy between the viewer and the characters in the movie. This relatively short dream sequence stands out from other movies, mainly because it feels more accurate to what dreams actually feel like, a bit of haziness, almost like you're about to forget everything, and as if someone from the real world is talking to you through a character in your dream. At this point in the movie, Shoya is beginning to doubt himself. He doesn't feel he even deserves to be friends with Nishimiya after all the sins he committed in his past. He feels like all the bad things he's done is coming back to haunt him, almost like fate. Except he's using this as his own detriment, to downplay his own good actions, whatever they may be. He believes that no matter what, there will be no goodness for him. Even though he survived a suicide attempt, no one was there to lift him back up afterwards. Then comes another state of depression. A state of wondering why you're even still alive. You shelter yourself from those around you, giving them apathetic personas, dehumanizing them. And it's not just that. Shoya feels that these people have their own lives, and he doesn't deserve to run amok in them. And now, he refuses to listen. Unlike Shoko, who always listened, even though her hearing was much worse. Unlike Shoko, who always listened to others, Shoya is condemning himself from the rest of the world by silencing their voices. If that isn't a good metaphor, I don't know what is. And now comes the foreshadowing of Tuesday. Tuesday, the day Shoya has a chance to redeem himself, even if it's only once a week. It was a glimmer of hope in an ocean of despair for him. Something so small as him lending someone's bike and not giving them back. He felt as if fate was against him trying to reconcile with Nishimiya. He always searches for a reason, an excuse, because his heart wants to reconcile. A reason to prove to fate why he is worthy to meet Nishimiya again. And almost as if to deny what he thought before, he gains a new friend from the bike incident. His first true friend, ever. And it's through him that he has the courage to see Nishimiya again. He goes so far as to ask him in the most indirect way possible if he could be friends with Nishimiya, or if anyone could be friends with someone like him. And as Nagatsuka explains, friendship transcends simple things. And as Nagatsuka explains, friendship transcends logic. He was able to convince him that even though he had committed the worst of sins, that he can still be friends with someone like Nishimiya. Although Nagatsuka doesn't even know who that is. And through Nagatsuka, he gets his second chance. I really love this scene, because the cinematography literally puts it through a camera lens, as if it's the lens of someone else, observing them, rather than the two of them just speaking to each other. Outsiders, in a way. But they want to understand. Especially Shoko's sister. She wants to understand how former enemies can still be friends. Alright, friendly reminder that we're getting into spoiler territory here. If you haven't seen this movie yet, go ahead and do that. And now, the best use of musical foreshadowing I've ever seen. In agonizing pain he experiences over and over again, not being able to reach her when she needs it most. And yet, by a miracle, he's finally able to. And if there already wasn't enough foreshadowing, a terrifying leap. One a human should never make. The miracle is the will to stop that leap. The will to live. Nishimiya and Yuzuru experience loss of their own. And yet a kind of angelic being from the heavens comes down to see them, almost as a gift from their deceased grandmother. Now, one of my favorite scenes. Finding beauty in nature. Admiring beauty from two separate paths. So different, yet so alike. Us as viewers don't initially know what she's saying. However, it's soon revealed how low Nishimiya's self-esteem is. Fireworks envelop the sky. Nishimiya can feel it all, although she doesn't need to hear it. They still can't close the distance between each other, even after all this time. A grim foreshadowing begins to envelop the entire scene. And in this part, Yuzuru indirectly saved Nishimiya's life. Fireworks. The very same beautiful yet haunting thing that stopped Shoya from killing himself almost made Nishimiya do the same. In this moment, Shoya looks to higher power. He begs God for strength. Begins to regret everyone he misjudged. Everyone around him he refused to listen to. Everyone he denied a relationship with himself. At this point, their true feelings are being realized. Shoya is willing to give up his own life in order to save Shoko. Yet this too has its own consequences. And what does Shoya think when he falls? What is his family doing? What is Nishimiya's family doing? It's the same fear I felt in the roller coaster. What temperature is it? It's cold at first, then it begins to feel warm. Blood spurts out. This part of the film never ceases to bring me to tears, as such a potent pain shows itself to the viewers and the characters on screen. It can be viewed as a selfish act from the outside, but it only worsens the problem at hand. This is how empathy can be attained between characters and the viewers, because the pain these characters feel, it's unbelievably real. Yuzuru presented the ugliness of death all around their house, and yet she still felt that it could have saved Nishimiya's life. Now, things beautifully come full circle, as Nagatsuka, the person that helped Shoya came out of his shell, is the very person who helps Shoko recover. By the way, I'm not the biggest fan of Kawaii as a character, but she gave Nishimiya a hug, and she really deserves a hug. Then she says one of the most truthful things I've ever heard in my life. Also, shout out to the music in this part. It's very beautiful, calming, and reassuring. By far my favorite track from the movie. Even after being struck down by Ueno, Nishimiya still forgives her, because they all experience a similar pain, a similar potent pain. They have empathy. This is truly a magnificently beautiful scene. What is someone's mindset after facing death? Perhaps the day they were meant to redeem themselves. Then, the piano juts out, like someone awakening from a long slumber. And my favorite scene in film history. The fish that brought the two of them together is the very thing that motivates Shoya to see Nishimiya again, creating further empathy between the character and the viewer. What confirms Shoya's existence is the touch. Nishimiya believes he's a phantom, another lie. He isn't. All of their built-up emotion releases. They both still feel alone in this moment, even though people are still watching, even from up above. They still can't close the distance between each other. And yet, Shoya is finally able to. And he does so by saying the most truest words I've ever heard in my entire life.
Nishimiya, 俺、君に生きるのを手伝ってほしい。
He does the friend motion onto Nishimiya herself, for Nishimiya herself, a sign to lift Nishimiya up, a sign to love herself. And yet his own hands envelops hers, a promise of protection. They no longer blame themselves for every wrongdoing. Instead, they carry the burden together. Yet, humor and happiness is still found within the situation. Shoya had lifted her up, and Nishimiya had lifted him up. A mutual bond. A mutual light. We get this adorable scene. Shoya is unable to face others, even after all that's happened. But Shoko can help him. Then, after seeing all his friends again, Shoya is no longer deaf to other people's voices. The symbols from before have become victorious. Perhaps this is the shape of voice. Perhaps this is empathy.